Ahead on Up with KREM, pushback from Spokane neighbors over a new housing development, why they say city rules should not be one size fits all.
And it is going to be a beautiful weekend here in the inland Northwest. If you like sunshine and warmer temperatures, this is the weekend for you.
Plus, it's more than just a rivalry game. We break down why the Zags really need a win tonight at St. Mary's.
Up with KREM begins now.
Good Saturday morning. Thanks for joining us here on Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham. Let's start off with Nicole Hernandez tracking your weekend forecast. Nicole, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty sunny weekend.
Oh yeah, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. You know, we had a little bit of rain earlier this week, but all of that is gone. We get a nice little break from it. I know a lot of people are really wanting for winter, but it's not here. We've got more above average temperatures, but the good news is this time we're sunny with it. So for today, we're going to have a little bit of cloud cover that we're going to be competing with. We'll have some partly cloudy skies, but it's still going to be nice. The sun is still going to come out at some point, and we're going to be in the high 40s here in Spokane. Some spots even hitting the 50s. By Sunday, we're even warmer and even more sunny. So totally beautiful weekend. Try to get outside, try to enjoy it. We're dry for the next few days, and our next chance for rain doesn't hit until Wednesday. So coming up, we'll let you know what we think that's going to look like.
We are learning new details about last month's double-decker bus crash. Spokane police cited the driver of that bus with second-degree negligent driving, as well as driving under a bridge clearly marked as impassable by the double-decker bus. The driver, identified as 65-year-old Wayne Morgan, was not impaired at the time of the crash. Morgan told police he was following the map and GPS provided by STA when the crash happened. The double-decker buses are back out on the roads and now have new safety features. Following the crash, STA audited all of the bridges their buses go under.
And at that time, we found that the viaduct posted limits, the height restrictions, were in conflict with the posted height of the bus.
Because of that audit, STA pulled some of their buses from routes going under certain viaducts. STA says they plan to wrap up the investigation in the next couple of weeks. Well, do you recognize this neighborhood behind me? It's Lower Crossing here in Spokane. KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez spoke with people living there about a proposed development on their street.
Must be about here.
Martis Neno is particular about her art. She has a plan.
We've got a treasure chest happening here.
Almost feels like Martis's art is more planned out than where she lives.
I moved down here in 1996, so this will be my 30th year living in Lower Crossing.
It's a tiny neighborhood tucked along the river with just one narrow way in and out.
This is the first platted neighborhood. And so when the people who were planning the city were doing this, they didn't really have a plan.
Modern cars didn't exist, and Spokane was just a small town. But now we're growing, and some of that growth is proposed here in Lower Crossing.
It goes all the way from Falls Avenue, heading north up the hill, up to Ohio Street, which is up in Kendall Yards.
Developers are planning a 12-unit complex, 6 of which would access from here.
It's not a no growth kind of situation. It's just the thought of having a sixplex here is out of proportion to the streets, to the setting, and to the density.
Adding these homes would grow the small neighborhood by 60%.
We're afraid that we are going to really restrict emergency services to our neighborhood and to the river.
The city of Spokane says the developers have a plan for that. They will need to widen the road, post no parking signs, and add a fire hydrant to move forward with the project.
We develop rules and regulations around how property can develop. And then once those rules are in place, when somebody comes in and proposes a development, we're really just reviewing to those rules.
It's like one size fits all. It doesn't matter what your neighborhood's needs are or concerns are. This is how the city is going to proceed.
There is a chance for people like Martis and her neighbors to have a say in that process. The city is updating their 20-year comprehensive plan this year.
The comprehensive plan is a document that identifies the community's vision for how we're going to grow over the next 20 years. this will help them to define the vision for their own neighborhood and their own community.
People can leave suggestions at planspokane.org. But in the meantime, planning on this project continues.
So we're hoping that the city sees reason and sets precedent until we can get to city council and say, hey, maybe there should be areas of special consideration. Not no development, but just not high density development.
In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Idaho Governor Brad Little is running for re-election. This means he will appear on the May 19th ballot in the Republican primary. Little wrote on social media saying he and his wife Teresa made the state the most prosperous in the nation, and President Trump is supporting his campaign. Little will officially kick off the campaign after the legislative session ends in March. Lawyer and Pocatello native Terry Pickens is also running for Idaho governor. Pickens says she's running for governor because, quote, it's time for real leadership and real change. Some issues Pickens is focusing on includes an economy that works for, quote, everyday Idahoans, better funding for education, and keeping lands in public hands. Well, it's an end of an era for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Tonight, the men's basketball team faces against St. Mary's in their final regular season game as members of the West Coast Conference. The Zags have already wrapped up the regular season title, but as Andy Patton with Locked On Zags explains, there's still a lot on the line for Gonzaga.
So Gonzaga likely has 2 quad 1 games remaining on their schedule. One of them is this road game in Moraga. You don't want to lose this. Again, for pride, for finishing the regular season strong for a variety of reasons, rivalry aspect of it. But it also does matter because Gonzaga is currently in that number 3 seed conversation for the NCAA tournament. A 3 seed could play in Portland. You'd get an opportunity to not have to square off with a 1 seed until you've advanced a couple of rounds. You get a 14 seed, then you get a 6 seed or an 11 seed, and then you get a 2 seed. Gonzaga is capable of beating those teams, especially if Braden Huff comes back. Gonzaga is going to have a hard time against the 1 seeds. You don't want to be a 4 seed. You want to be a 3 seed. There's a big difference. And for Gonzaga, a win on the road against St. Mary's on Saturday, I will not say that it cements them as a 3 seed. Far from it. But it helps a lot. A lot.
Check out more Locked On Zags right here on KREM 2 Plus. Andy has a full preview of tonight's game, including his keys to a Gonzaga win. Do you have the wonderful weekend problem of too much time on your hands? It's a great problem to have, right? Well, we've got some events for you to consider today in your weekend What's Up. Cowboy Ian Munsick is bringing his The Eagle Flies free tour to the First Interstate Center tonight at 7 p.m. He'll be joined by special guests Jake Worthington and Tyler Nance. Tickets are still available and start at about $50. Well, bring any extra seeds from your garden to swap for seeds from other gardeners' collections at the Moscow Public Library this morning. No seeds? No problem. You can also pick up some and start your collection. The swap starts at 11 a.m. Looking for a creative way to spend the afternoon? Head to Gizmo in Coeur d'Alene for their Crafternoon social at 2 p.m. Beginners and experienced crafters are welcome to bring a project and create alongside the community. This month's theme is mosaics, so grab shells, beads, tiles, or anything that inspires you. The cost is $5 to participate. And this is so much fun. Garland Brew Works is hosting a cereal beer event today. So it's exactly what it sounds like. They will combine the comfort of Saturday morning cartoons with craft beer and a great experience. They'll have 5 cereal-inspired beers from marshmallow hazy IPAs to peanut butter stouts. Guests can also build their own bowl at a cereal bar and play free cereal trivia throughout the day. No tickets are required. Coming up, we have one more weekend event to tell you about. It's the Spokane Home and Yard Show. What's new this year? That's after the break. Plus, the Inlanders Restaurant Week is going on right now. We are talking to one of the restaurants taking part.
All right, that warmer weather is on the way, so if you need some inspiration, this is the place you got to come down to, the Spokane Home and Yard Show. running through the weekend, and
Yes.
it's a special place to be with some special people involved as well. Cheryl, phenomenal. I mean, when you look around this place,
Thank
you're
you
just
so
completely
much.
blown away. How are you doing, though?
Good. We like to say not all home shows are created equal. We
Yeah.
do this once a year. It's the only 4-day show. It's the region's largest home show in the area. We've got 4 huge buildings filled wall to wall with hundreds of home improvement products and services. We've been touching on all the featured landscapes. We're known for that. So you're going to come in, you're going to see the waterfalls and the concrete tumblers and burbling water. But we also have everything you need for inside your home as well. Art of Drawers is a new company with us. We're excited to have folks come and see what they can do. They'll take your existing cabinets. You're not going to have to do an entire kitchen demolition. And they'll take your existing cabinets but make them much more functional, the Art of Drawers. So we're really thrilled to have them here.
Well,
we
no,
like
it's
to
really
highlight
beautiful.
things that people haven't seen in the community yet.
I need something like this for sure, absolutely.
Me too.
And then, well, it is really cool because you mentioned the landscaping. You've got all the grass, even putting greens that people will set up. And what's really cool too about this is that you can feel how special it is. The businesses, they feel like they're happy and proud to be a part of this
This is
as
all
well.
one-to-one, face-to-face networking. And if you're about to do a project, trust me, you want to be able to talk to the people that are representing the company or that own the company before you decide to do business with them. So this is really your best chance for that face-to-face interaction. Get a feel. We say we're saving you from driving all over town. You can shop and compare in one location. And most of these companies are offering exclusive only show deals and specials. And that's why you would come down for the weekend. Even if you're not sure, you're planning even 6 months, a year from now, this is the right time to get going on what you think you want to have coming up for your spring project.
Just as you said, the right time to get going, and I think you can find some type of inspiration or at least find someone that you can work with as well to improve your house, give you those dreams.
It's your biggest investment, right? You got to take care of it. So it could be as mundane as like, oh gosh, I need to fix this deck. I've got a few planks that aren't working out for me, to, hey, I want to be more creative and I love my kitchen, but I hate how it's organized.
I can relate to that as
Me
well,
too.
So again, this is a great place for you to be. Cheryl, we want to say thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing everybody.
Spokane Home and Yard Show 2026. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Well, we are warmer than average this weekend and stay warmer than average for the rest of the week as well. I have your full forecast coming up. Well, this weekend is a lot of what we've seen all this winter. Warmer than normal, and the good news is sunny this time. Sometimes when we're warmer, it's harder for us to be sunny, and so it's nice that we actually get the sunshine with the warmth this weekend. So we're very sunny, we have above average temperatures, and then we're dry for really the next few days. We get a little patch here where we don't get much moisture in our area. For today, for your Saturday, we're going to be in the high 40s here in Spokane with some spots hitting the 50s. That's a big deal. 50 degrees here in Coeur d'Alene, Deer Park, Wilbur, Moses Lake, Ritzville, definitely hitting the 50s, but obviously some of those spots might be right on the border there. Depending on how much sunshine we get will obviously help determine how many of us are going to reach that 50-degree point. 50 degrees, though, not normal this time of year. Average this time of year is 43 degrees, and we're upwards of 48, even potentially 50 degrees. So definitely those above average temperatures. But again, nothing new for this winter, right? We have been seeing this for months now, that instead of feeling like those winter temperatures, we're feeling more like spring. I feel like this weekend, definitely that in particular, feeling a little bit like spring, even though it's technically still February. The rest of the weekend, we stick similar, right? There will be some cloud cover here and there on Saturday with that high of 48 degrees. And then on Sunday, we get even warmer, 51 degrees and even more sunshine. So definitely a nice weekend to get outside, enjoy the sun. We don't see any moisture. We just have some of that cloud cover, like we mentioned, that will move its way in and out as the weekend continues, but totally dry. We're not going to see any rain, especially no snow with those temperatures, right? But it's just because there's really no moisture moving its way through. The next chance for any rain that we get isn't until Wednesday. So this is this storm track that's going to start moving its way into the area. And by Wednesday, the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, basically the entire inland northwest, gets hit with a bit of moisture. It's too far out to know exactly how, where, or when that moisture hits, but we're staying warm, so likely that will come as rain instead of snow, at least for the lowlands here. This is our next week outlook. All red. That is all above average temperatures, and it stays that way for basically the entire country. just the very top right corner there. Maine is the only spot that's average, but everyone else above average in terms of temperatures.
It's my favorite week of the year. Inlanders Restaurant Week kicks off today, and we're very excited because we have one of my favorite restaurants in studio, Durkin's in studio. Deb and Ryan, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Okay, so first off, we got to get right to it. What is a look at your menu for this year's Restaurant Week?
Well, I'll let Ryan describe the first and second
And
courses.
Ryan, you're the head chef.
Yeah.
Oh, he knows his stuff.
Yeah. So right here we have the burrata. It's just a classic burrata with olive tapenade and chili flake, and then just some grilled sourdough baguette. And then here we have just braised lentils with a pan-seared halibut, and then a roasted and marinated tomato.
Amazing.
Oh, so good. And Deb, you were telling me you guys have been doing this for a long time, right?
A long time. We started, we actually participated in the first year of Restaurant Week with our restaurant Casper Fry. And then Durkin's opened in November of 2014, and our first year to participate in Restaurant Week was 2015.
Oh, wow.
And this is a great way to get new customers to try Durkin's or any restaurant around town. What are some of the reasons why you continue to participate in Restaurant Week?
Well, it does bring in new guests, and we appreciate that. It's an opportunity to showcase what our chefs can do, and it's an opportunity for us to come up with a menu that's a little bit out of the ordinary for us and do a few different items.
That's cool. And yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to say Durkin's is obviously a bit of an icon for downtown Spokane, but for people who have not been, what can they expect either from your food and your ambiance?
You know, the full name is Durkin's Liquor Bar. So first off, you can expect a really nice classic cocktail.
So good. My favorites.
And then during Restaurant Week, we've got these 9 courses that we're offering, but at the same time, we're offering our regular menu, so you can come in and get that burger if you want. But during Restaurant Week, we really recommend that you try something different and order off the Restaurant Week menu.
Totally, because it's a time that it might not be on the menu later, but also it's also about going back and supporting local after Restaurant Week.
Very much.
Do folks need to make a reservation and tell folks what price point you are at?
Yes, we do recommend that everybody make a reservation. We do our reservations through a phone call. It will save you a seat. We did purposely build a restaurant that looks like a diner, so seating is limited. But if they give us a call, we'll make a reservation for them. And we are at the top tier of the price, $45 for a 3-course meal.
And real quick from head chef, do you have a favorite on the menu?
I think the pork belly is gonna be really good.
Oh, that's the one that made my stomach growl.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really nice.
And real quick, also, we didn't talk about the desserts.
Oh
what
yeah,
are these?
come on, let's talk
Right,
about
our
these.
pastry chef Kelly from Madeline's does our desserts for us. So we'll be offering 3 desserts. Vanilla bean panna cotta. I did not bring that one today. This is her tres leches cake. So that is a sponge marinated in 3 different milks. And this is a classic peanut butter pie, a chocolate cookie crust,
How do you
peanut butter
choose
mousse.
one? You only get to pick one.
Well, bring a friend and then share everything.
That is the pro tip.
People do that. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I do Restaurant Week, I go with a friend and then we order different things.
Order different
Sample
things.
it all.
Absolutely.
All right, Deb, Ryan, thanks so much for being here this morning. Restaurant Week happening now for the next week or so. Be sure to check out the menus online, $25, $35, and $45, and support local. Coming up, it's the update you've been waiting for. KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez and Jeremy Legou are still fixing up that old news van. See their progress after the break.
Where are we heading?
We're removing the mask today!
Oh,
nailed it. First try every time.
Nikolai, how does this work?
We're going to attach the orange thing to the mask, and theoretically it will lift out.
We have these bolts that are all the way around the circumference of the mast that we're going to have to take out. And it's all watertight, so we're going to have to cut all that sealant off. And then we're just going to grab it by the base of it, pull it straight up.
Send it.
That feels way easier than it should have been.
I told you 20 minutes. Remember when I said that?
And look at that.
20 minutes drive, and I'm going forward.
Alright, we'll vacate the area too.
That's insane.
We were pulling in for our first tank of gas. Now is the big test. Is this thing affordable to drive down the road?
That didn't go very well.
Well, a couple of things. One, we are getting a whopping 5.4 miles per gallon right now. Minor concern. A much bigger concern is the fact that it just took me 15 minutes to get it started in the gas station parking lot. So, the bigger question is, do we turn and go for home? Back to safety. Try to figure this all out? Or do we go for the other 2 hours of our drive that we still haven't done yet? We're going for it.
Jeremy had to jump out of the car for an errand, and now I'm in charge of making sure none of the gauges go crazy. And if they do, I have to turn off the car. It started beeping. Help. Here we go again. There we go. We did make it back home yesterday. Barely. Now Jeremy's in his favorite spot.
I'm changing the fuel filter. Our fuel filter was pumping out fuel that looked like this. If all goes well, this bad boy's gonna fire right up. That's what I'm talking about. Pure power.
That's insane.
Still ahead on Up with KREM, we are taking you to Leavenworth, some history about the iconic town you might not have known about.
What he demonstrated that day is no surprise to me.
Ahead on Up with KREM, Coeur d'Alene firefighters who responded to the attack on Canfield Mountain now receiving one of Idaho's highest honors. Plus, a Coeur d'Alene Classic is closing its doors, where you might be able to get one of their burgers in the future. And later, a local restaurant breaks down their star dishes here in our studio, and they'll tell you how you can taste them this week.
Up with KREM begins now.
Hi friends, thanks for staying with us on this Saturday morning. I'm Tim Pham. Well, let's get you ready for your Saturday with Nicole Hernandez. Nicole, sounds like it's going to be a really nice sunny weekend. I know I'm going to go for a walk.
Oh, definitely. Get outside, go for a walk. Honestly, Tim, I'm kind of torn because it's winter and I want it to be winter. You know, all the
I agree.
Snow sports.
But the sun feels so good. I just want to soak it all in.
Totally. No, absolutely. And that's what we're going to get this weekend. We're going to get some amazing sunshine and above average temperatures. Unfortunately, for anybody who's into the snow sports, I love snowboarding. No more winter weather this weekend, unfortunately. We do get a chance for some moisture moving its way in later this week, which we'll talk about later on in the full forecast. But even that, we're sticking warm. We've got warm temperatures today, 48 degrees, and then even warmer tomorrow and even sunnier tomorrow as well. So we do get a little bit of cloud cover today, but it won't be crazy. We will still see the sun, and like I mentioned, above average temperatures. So get outside, have a good time. It's just a great weekend to kind of enjoy this above average kind of spring-like weather that we have.
Several North Idaho first responders are receiving the Idaho Medal of Honor. It's the state's highest honor for first responders. The award is for their courage and bravery during the deadly attack on Canfield Mountain last summer. KREM 2's Regan Gallo is in Hayden with more.
Some law enforcement right now, it's an active shooter zone. There's not PC3's down, PC1's down. Everybody shot up here.
That's the voice of Captain Fritz Wiedenhoff, a firefighter with the Northern Lakes Fire District who responded during the attack on Canfield Mountain. The department said Wiedenhoff warned other first responders an active shooter was on the mountain. I am told it was his heroic actions that saved more lives from being lost. Coeur d'Alene Battalion Chief John Morrison and Kootenai Battalion Chief Frank Harwood were shot and killed during the ambush attack that day.
What he demonstrated that day is no surprise to me. You know, he is an outstanding individual, and the way he acted, like I said, I couldn't be more proud of what Fritz did that day.
Coeur d'Alene firefighter Dave Tisdall also received the Medal of Honor, along with 3 Kootenai County Sheriff's deputies, Harvey Ballman, Eric Brock, and Josh Orr. Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Norris says in a statement, it is an honor to work alongside the 3 deputies. Officials with Northern Lakes Fire District tell me the official award ceremony for the Idaho Medal of Honor will be on September 1st in Boise. I'm reporting in Hayden, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
It's time for a recap of the top stories on KREM.com this week. And we begin with the killing of El Mencho, the leader of the major drug cartel in Mexico. Violence erupted all across Mexico in the aftermath of his death, hitting resort town Puerto Vallarta, especially hard. Many tourists trapped there for days, sheltering in place in hotels. Meanwhile, locals dealing with the fallout, buildings and cars set on fire, and dozens of people killed. Last week, a pedestrian died after a hit and run in Spokane Valley last Saturday. The 35-year-old driver was detained. The crash happened near Pines and DeSmet Avenue. That driver could face a vehicular homicide charge. And sad news on the west side this week, a deadly mass stabbing near Gig Harbor. A man stabbed and killed 4 people before police shot him. A neighbor saw it unfold, witnessing one woman's murder, then barricading himself in his house as the suspect came after him. He says the suspect tried to force his way through the front door before eventually giving up. That's when this happened.
I ran outside with my rifle, and a neighbor came outside, and I yelled to him asking, where's he at? And he said, he's down there. And just as I started to move in that direction to go engage him, the Pierce County Sheriff's deputy showed up on scene and killed him.
The 32-year-old suspect had documented mental health issues. We do know that one of the people he killed was his own mother. And that's the biggest stories on KREM.com this week. The city of Moscow is asking for nominations for the 2026 Mayor's Earth Day Awards. The awards recognize Moscow residents for sustainable practices that encourage environmental sustainability. Categories eligible for awards but are not limited to green visionaries and neighbors. That's people or businesses with long-range environmental objectives, students and schools, building and development, and service organizations. Nominations are due by March 17th and can be submitted by letter or email to the City of Moscow Sustainable Environment Commission. And after 12 years in business, Schmitty's Burgers in Coeur d'Alene is closing. Nate and Denise Schmidt, the restaurant's owners, say staying open is unsustainable. They say they've been struggling with a challenging economy and an influx of chain restaurants. Schmitty's is closing this Saturday, but the restaurant's legacy is not necessarily over. The owners say people want them to reopen as a food truck. Next on Up with KREM, we're taking the back roads to Leavenworth. Did you know that the idea for the Bavarian-themed town came from a World War II vet? That and more trivia in just a few minutes. And later, Burger King fans are waking up to a new Whopper, the changes the chain is making. Known for its Bavarian style, Leavenworth did not always look this way. John Bartel takes us there this morning for a little history lesson.
There's a place in the Cascades of Washington that looks, feels, and sounds like the Swiss Alps. That That place is called Leavenworth, a Bavarian-themed town with a Pacific Northwest hospitality.
So what's that little door at the top up there?
I'm glad you asked about that. That's actually where our glockenspiel is. Does your hometown have a glockenspiel?
I have no idea what a glockenspiel is.
Okay.
If you're wondering what a glockenspiel is and why this little Washington mountain town is covered in Bavarian facade, hitch a ride with the Leavenworth Carriage Company and talk with historian Ann Peavy.
Were these people Bavarian or I mean, I guess are we
There was nothing Bavarian about them, believe it or not. They were just, homesteaders.
Ann says in the late 1800s, Leavenworth was a major locomotive hub, moving cargo up and over the mountains. But when the railroad relocated in the 1920s, so did many of the people.
So Leavenworth's population went from close to 5,000 people in the early 1920s down to about 900 people.
For decades, Leavenworth struggled and many businesses closed. But then in the 1950s, two entrepreneurs, Bob Rogers and Ted Price, came up with an idea.
Bob Rogers, part of that partnership, he saw the area as having a backdrop that reminded him of Bavaria when he was there in World War II.
Bob and Ted started with a Bavarian-style restaurant and eventually talked the entire town into a major remodel. Storefronts added Tudor-style trim, colorful murals, and a giant maypole.
Starting from the bottom and working its way up, you can see a little bit of this little town's history from the railroad and the timber industry all the way to the change to turn into a Bavarian village toward the top.
To this day, Leavenworth residents like Janet Mano still embrace the Bavarian facade and share the adopted culture with visitors.
And it's the herdsman's horn. So in the mid-1700s, in fact, there was a decree in Switzerland that every herdsman should play the Alphorn because it increased milk production. Good for the motherland.
While in Leavenworth, it's also worth stopping by the Nutcracker Museum to see the world's largest collection of nutcrackers. It's also worth visiting the Leavenworth Reindeer Farm to feed Santa's helpers. Oh, and I almost forgot. At the end of the tour, Ann told me what a glockenspiel is.
Glockenspiel. That's a German word for a specific type of a clock that's very common in Germany. At the top of each hour, the clock chimes, the doors open, and wooden figurines come out and dance to recorded accordion music.
Riding the streets of Leavenworth, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
Coming up, we have one more delicious restaurant to introduce you to. Stay tuned to see what Das Steinhaus is serving for the Inlanders Restaurant Week.
Well, this weekend is a lot of what we've seen all this winter. Warmer than normal, and the good news is sunny this time. Sometimes when we're warmer, it's harder for us to be sunny, and so it's nice that we actually get the sunshine with the warmth this weekend. So we're very sunny, we have above average temperatures, and then we're dry for really the next few days. We get a little patch here where we don't get much moisture in our area. For today, for your Saturday, we're going to be in the high 40s here in Spokane with some spots hitting the 50s. That's a big deal. 50 degrees here in Coeur d'Alene, Deer Park, Wilbur, Moses Lake, Ritzville, definitely hitting the 50s, but obviously some of those spots might be right on the border there. Depending on how much sunshine we get will obviously help determine how many of us are going to reach that 50-degree point. 50 degrees, though, not normal this time of year. Average this time of year is 43 degrees, and we're upwards of 48, even potentially 50 degrees. So definitely those above average temperatures. But again, nothing new for this winter, right? We have been seeing this for months now, that instead of feeling like those winter temperatures, we're feeling more like spring. I feel like this weekend, definitely that in particular, feeling a little bit like spring, even though it's technically still February. The rest of the weekend, we stick similar, right? There will be some cloud cover here and there on Saturday with that high of 48 degrees. And then on Sunday, we get even warmer, 51 degrees and even more sunshine. So definitely a nice weekend to get outside, enjoy the sun. We don't see any moisture. We just have some of that cloud cover, like we mentioned, that will move its way in and out as the weekend continues, but totally dry. We're not going to see any rain, especially no snow with those temperatures, right? But it's just because there's really no moisture moving its way through. The next chance for any rain that we get isn't until Wednesday. So this is this storm track that's going to start moving its way into the area. And by Wednesday, the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, basically the entire inland Northwest, gets hit with a bit of moisture. It's too far out to know exactly how, where, or when that moisture hits, but we're staying warm, so likely that will come as rain instead of snow, at least for the lowlands here. This is our next week outlook. All red. That is all above average temperatures, and it stays that way for basically the entire country. Just the very top right corner there, Maine is the only spot that's average, but everyone else above average in terms of temperatures.
Restaurant Week is underway right now, and it is very exciting because there's a lot of great places that you can try out and eat, including Das Steinhaus.
Yep.
And we have two very special guests with us here this morning.
Okay, so we have George and Trevor. George is the owner.
Hello.
Trevor's head cook. So first, can you guys give us a breakdown of what your menu looks like this year?
Well, let's start with the Schnitzel cordon bleu.
Oh, the way you say
it. It's probably
This
better
one?
when I say pork cordon bleu.
Yum.
We hand cut this meat, then we stuff it with ham, prosciutto ham,
Oh.
small
It
Gouda.
smells amazing.
And we serve it with our homemade pasta, which is called Spätzle. We made by
Yum.
hand, German sauerkraut.
Yeah, and
it's-
homemade gravy.
And homemade gravy.
What, if for folks who don't know, what kind of food do y'all serve? I think it's pretty obvious now that we've given a little bit of a hint. Tell us
German food, yeah.
German food.
Traditional German
You immigrated
food.
from Germany, right?
Yes, I did 38 years ago.
And are these traditional recipes to your family?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Back to the
What's
menu.
next?
What
What's
else do we
next?
have on the menu?
We basically have all kinds of food, not just
Yeah.
German. And then Trevor is going to explain what else we
All
got
right,
on
Trevor,
there.
what else do we have here?
This is one of our desserts here. It's a German chocolate cake shot. It has vodka.
It's 5 o'clock, right? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, this
it's
guy's
5
ready.
a.m. 6
It's
a.m.
got
but-
vodka, a hazelnut liqueur, coconut rum, and then it's got a rim of chocolate and coconut.
I know who wants that. We're going to give that to Thomas
No,
Patrick.
literally,
It's his last
he'd
day.
be so stoked.
And then here we have our homemade rouladen. It's a
Yum.
beef top round,
Oh my
thinly
goodness.
sliced, and then it's got rolled with bacon, mustard, pickles, onions. Slowly cooked till it's real tender, and it's got a signature sauce on there,
Yum.
and some mashed potatoes, and a homemade red cabbage.
So for folks who don't know, at Restaurant Week, there's either a $25, a $35, or $45 menu. What price point are you guys at?
35.
You're $35.
And where are you located?
We are located at 1812 West Francis Avenue.
Okay.
Right in the 5-mall shopping mall.
Great.
How much does it mean to
Yeah.
you guys to be a part of Restaurant Week every year?
Well, it means a lot to us. It's very, very, very successful, and we
It
get a
brings in
lot of
new
new
custom-
people.
yeah, it brings in
a
new customers.
customer in.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got a lot of new people,
Yeah.
and we get to do something special, a little different
Totally.
too. So.
And Trevor, did we talk about what's on the end there?
My buddy will tell you that.
Okay.
It's a funny word.
It's a
one.
funny word. It's called Schweinige Schnitzeltest.
I'll let you.
Only that short.
Thank you for saying it, not us.
It's basically cut it out of the pork tenderloin julienne, similar to a stroganoff.
Oh,
and you got the homemade gravy on it with our homemade
Yeah,
pasta.
it's got some
again.
mushrooms in there too.
Yeah.
I love a good
Quickly
mushroom.
tell us what's on the end there.
That's called an onion pie.
Onion pie.
It's not a quiche, it's not a pizza, but it's in between.
Okay.
It's made with cream fraiche, onions, bacon bits, and caraway seed.
Okay, has
Well-
onion. Have some gum afterwards,
Yeah,
you
right.
know? Just kidding.
No, it all smells
It does
absolutely
smell really
incredible.
That's a big German tradition in Weinfest and Beerfest.
Oh, so amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to check out Das Steinhaus for Inlanders Restaurant Week. $35, a great deal. You get a lot of these great options. It's going on through the 7th, I believe, right?
Yes, and
Through
it
the
got,
7th.
comes with
And then
an
come visit
appetizer.
after.
Yeah. Comes as an appetizer and a dessert, yeah.
All right.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Coming up, one last restaurant story for you. We're talking about Burger King and their new Whopper. We've been talking a lot about food stories, and maybe it's getting you hungry, but we have one last restaurant story for you this morning. Burger King giving the Whopper its first makeover in nearly a decade. And it comes actually after customer complaints. The Whopper will now come on a premium bun with a creamier mayo.
Mayo creamier.
Oh, okay. And it'll be served in a clamshell box instead of paper wrapping.
Give it the proper house, you know? So people apparently complained for years about smash burgers, that they were falling apart. More than 7,000 restaurants now across the country have the new and improved Whopper.
Interesting, okay.
I don't think I've had a Whopper in like
been
a
years.
decade.
In case you're wondering, it does cost franchisees more money to make this Whopper, but Burger King is telling franchise owners not to raise prices. The chain is counting on the updates to bring customers back.
All right. A promise of a good product makes
Yeah.
returning customers.
I don't know if I like the idea of it in a box, though. For
Really?
me, I'm like, if
Interesting.
I'm driving, I
That's
don't
fair.
have time to,
Fiddle with a
take it
box,
up.
yeah.
Fiddle with a box.
No, totally.
I have that complaint about Chick-fil-A too sometimes, though. It's like, I need to grab it and go.
I
you know?
apologize for what I'm about to say to Burger King, but I genuinely don't like Burger King. I don't
really?
like. I haven't been since I was a
Okay.
kid. Like the 10 years ago thing, probably even longer.
It
because-
has been a while since I've been to Burger King. I do like their fries, though. I do know that. so
Okay, that's fair.
They're pretty good.
Any fries are good.
Those are facts. I do love potatoes. All right, that'll do it for us here on Up with KREM. Be sure to join us back here tomorrow on KREM 2+.